G'day guys. This one, oh man, today's been a day, I gotta tell you. But we'll get into that later. What I'm saying is, I put a few ideas out on the Facebook group saying what would you like to see me do or use or whatever, and I combined two of them. One was eyelets and one of them was ribbon. So I decided that this beautiful paper, I've been hoarding it, I'll be honest, I've been hoarding it because it's gorgeous. It's not something that you would typically see me use, but I love that sort of fabric. It reminds me of my children when they were babies. And I decided to sort of do something. Now, I'm tapping my fingers a bit here because this was something that I was toying with the idea while I was cleaning, and I kind of thought of the idea, but then I didn't really know how I was going to execute it. But that's okay. It's all good. It works in the end and it's super duper simple. But for some reason look, to be completely honest with you, today's been a long day. Okay? Been a very long day. Started very early at the hospital with Ange. Turns out they don't want her finger in the plaster at this stage because obviously swelling, all that sort of stuff. So they've put it into a, she's basically splintered two fingers together, which is what we did originally. And this is me, by the way, just rummaging through all my eyelets, working out which ones I wanted to use. And yeah, so it turns out that's not what they want to do. The new game plan is they want it splintered with the pinky and the ring finger connected for 2 weeks, and basically we're going from there. So don't mind me, I did come back, Amazon delivery, I had to quickly run out and grab it. So yeah, so pretty much it was one of those moments. So I was off to the hospital this morning. Now I thought for a 9 o'clock appointment, if you're local to me, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I left home at 8 o'clock. Appointment was at 9 at Redcliffe Hospital. Now, it's really not that far, but for some reason, it took forever. And we literally got there with like 4 minutes to spare. It took us nearly an hour to get to Redcliffe Hospital from my house, which is just ridiculous. So that started the day off fantastically. And then obviously then the game plan changed with the hand, and Angela had herself all ready for another cast and get this one off and get a lighter weight one on. So it was a bit of there was a bit of a saga involved. So yeah, so that was fun, but that's okay. Got there in the end, and then I finally got home. And I don't know about you, but I hate being busy, go, and then have to try and sit down and be creative. It's really difficult for me to switch my brain off. So you can see me here. I am using small eyelets and I've connected them using my crocodile. Now, my crocodile I used for the whole, because it's got two different sizes. If you don't have one, I'll explain it. So a crocodile is a bit of an investment. I would like to say that mine probably is a very expensive desk ornament because I don't use it nearly as much as I probably thought that I would. But for me personally, it works a treat. Providing, see how far in the eyelets are. As long as that's how far in you want your eyelets on something, or like on a tag or something along those lines, it's perfect. Failing that, if you want your eyelets in the middle of a page, just pull out the old eyelet setter, honestly. And that's what I pulled out there at the beginning, and then I thought, no, I'll use the crocodile, I'll do it. Now this bit here, I've left it in, so you can have a laugh at my expense. This is a pre-approved laughing zone, okay? You can laugh at me, because I tell you what, the amount, I think I cut a little bit of it out, but can you see how hard my brain is trying to work to crisscross this ribbon through the eyelets like a shoelace? boy, oh boy, oh boy, if it was not the most painful thing for me. Look what I just did. Like, it's... Okay, so would it have been easier had I attached the two pieces down? Possibly. But then it would have been harder for me to get the ribbon underneath. And I just went backwards and forwards with this. And the thing is, I actually wanted the crisscross part to be sitting flat. So not only was I weaving it through, but then I was making it sit flat. Look, okay, I can justify in my mind the fiddly parts that I was doing. And it's kind of what my brain needed to get me back zen again. Like, just to sort of bring me back to zero ground. And yeah, so it took me a little bit, and then I still stuffed it up. I think after I stuffed it up the second time round, I think it was at that point that I went, turn it off. These people are just going to be laughing at this point, going, how can you not know how to do this? And I can. When you're doing it on a shoe, it's super simple. But when you're doing it on a scrapbook layout that's going to stay like that forever and ever and ever, you sort of need to go and get it right from the beginning. So I actually missed a loop or something here, and yeah, I don't know. But I got it in the end. Don't panic. In the end, it works out, and I was fraying the end of my ribbon, and it was driving me up the wall, but I get there in the end. Now, I absolutely love how this layout turns out. Again, it's kind of a simple one, but you know how I say all the time, I love all my bright colours, and I love doing all sort of mixed media-y, full on. And every so often I just chuck in a floral something, or some flowers and some flourishes, or something like that. That's where this page went. This went... Can you see I just missed it? Look. I had to turn it off and just fix it, because you guys will be switching off in droves. Now, this is one of my little floral pages that I quite liked. Now, this is a piece of muslin. Now, I got this muslin off Amazon AU, and it was dirt cheap. I bought 2 of them because I thought, you know what? Now I know how to use this stuff. I think I'll use it more. So I bought 2 packets of it. Now, all I'm sort of trying to create here is I'm trying to sort of ruffle up the edges. Do you remember the pirate shirts back in the 90s? You know how we used to all have, you know, very Chandler Bing-ish, you know, like we all had, we all loved the pirate shirt, right? That's where we were sort of all going with everything. Well, that's kind of where my brain was going with this particular layout. That's what I was leaning towards with this. Now, of course, it's going to take me a couple of goes to get this right, because, you know, why get it right the first time? Wouldn't be fun then, would it? So, as you can see, I'm just sort of ruffling it up. It's just adding texture to the page. It sort of makes sense when you see the shoelaced piece. Can you kind of imagine that it's maybe like a bodice sort of vibe? That's where I was going with the layout. Not that the photo has anything to do with a bodice or anything like that, but I do remember back in the day, like when I had Ange, and I remember this particular day, and we took the photo because see, now I can get all my bits and pieces lined up properly. So back in the day, I remember going over to my mum and dad's place, and mum was bathing Angela. Now, Angela she was the tiniest baby on the planet, and she was still wearing 000s when she was turning 1. And she's always been itty bitty human, and I really like where that went. Like, I really like how petite and feminine the page looks. That's where my brain was going with this. And the photos I was going to use, I even changed my mind, because I was thinking, you know, maybe I need to, I wasn't too sure. I thought maybe I need to change the photo up a little bit. So this is a photo of when Angela was born, but then I ended up going back to the bath photo. You can't see anything. There's no issues. There's no nothing. I would never put photos of my children online that, you know, you can see anything. But my mum was bathing her in the bathroom sink, which Ange fitted beautifully. She was just, you know, mum likes to do those sort of things. And yeah, it was long time ago. I mean, Ange is 15 this month, so, you know, it's been a while since she fit into the hand basin. But yeah, so I'm just paper piecing. I didn't know whether I wanted to actually have a photo mat behind this, but then, see, I think it ties it in a little bit better. Could I have probably used a slightly smaller photo? Yes, so you could see more of the paper and the ruching, the ruffling, the whatever you want to call it. I did think about that, but then I thought, you know what, this photo is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And by the way, in the next video, you're going to see how I went way too long. The problem I have with my art glitter glue, okay, I have no issues with it ever unless I push it to the point of no return when it's nearly empty, like it's totally down to nothing. And because it's so humid up here at the moment, it was silly. I don't know why, but I always push it too far, and yeah, it was getting clogged. So in my next video, which is coming up tomorrow, you will see exactly the struggle was real, very real. And I have no issue with my art glitter glue ever. Occasionally I need to sort of re-poke the pin into it because I'm terrible. Because I scrap pretty much every day, I don't actually put a cap back on my glue. I just leave the pin in it. So it's probably more my fault than anyone else's. Now I'm going around with the Distress watercolor pencil. I love them. If you're new to my channel, hi, how you doing? If you've stuck this out this long, I absolutely love my watercolor pencils. And I'll be honest with you, this one is, what color did I use? The walnut stain. That's the color I used, just to add a little bit of extra depth to it. Now, the collection I used was the Flower Shop collection from KAISERCRAFT. The two pieces of paper that I used were Garden Path and Afternoon. I also come in with, so I used the silver and white ribbon. That was just in my collection from $2 shop. Saw it one day, liked it, all that sort of thing. So what I'm doing with my pencil is I'm just dipping it into a little bit of water, and it softens the end of it, and then I'm just rubbing my finger along it to smudge it. So I didn't want to actually get my Distress Oxide inks out and ink the edges, but I like how that looks. Now I've pulled out my 49th and Market rub-ons. I've got my Art Options AVESTA ones and the Plum Grove ones. And I pulled out a couple because I didn't want a really big bold title on this. I thought it looked quite feminine and dainty, so I wanted to keep it that way. And I absolutely love how this turns out. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I've managed to do two very simple layouts for me. They're quite simple. So I'm quite impressed. Now this is where I was bouncing backwards and forwards and trying to work out whether, is that enough? Is that really what I want to do? Do I want to keep going? So I do add a couple of words. Now these rub-ons, I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. If you have not tried rub-ons for a long time, because they were very hit and miss, I found the rub-ons from years gone by were quite waxy, and it's a bit hit and miss whether they would stick to stuff. These 49th and Market rub-ons are amazing. They are so good, and they stick down beautifully every single time, and Very, very rarely do I have a partial, you know, like when you take the plastic off and some of it's left there. I just added a couple of butterflies there just because I felt like there needed to be just a little bit of something. So, and I'm just doing my journaling across the bottom in silver. Again, another thing I like to do is keep my journaling simple and light so it doesn't distract from the artwork. So this is the close-up, guys. This is going to be my shameless plug. We are, I think we're at 1350 something subscribers. As soon as we hit 1500, we're having another giveaway, and I can't wait to give back to you guys. So please invite everybody along, get people to like, engage with the channel, subscribe, all that sort of fun stuff. It all helps me out, and it's all free. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat to you again soon. Bye for now.